What's going on, guys? So we're gonna be talking about the GameSir G7 Pro today. This has been a highly anticipated controller to come out for the Xbox. This is an Xbox official freaking controller, by the way. You see the seal of approval there. It does come with Game Pass. Stick around for the unboxing portion. You'll get that code if you want it. So GameSir did send this controller out to me for review or whatever, but it was like for TikTok, and yeah, I'm gonna be putting it over here too. That's like, that just makes sense. So moving on. Let's get to the unboxing portion of the controller real quick. So it was a typical unboxing experience with the GameSir itself. It did come with a nice braided nylon cable that, you know, okay, cool. You know, we don't need it, right? Because it's an Xbox official wireless controller. I mean, we wouldn't need that, right? It does come with the 2.4 dongle, so you know we're good there. It's come with a nice charging station for you to put it on. I'm just gonna go ahead and get to it real quick before we move on, guys. Listen, it's not freaking wireless for the Xbox. It's a wired Xbox controller. The highly anticipated controller that we have all been waiting for, thinking we would get a wireless freaking controller finally from GameSir with 4 buttons on it. By the way, it has 4 buttons. They're not great in my personal opinion. I'll tell you about those in a few minutes, but we have 4 buttons. But the controller is still wired. So all you that were waiting for the wireless controller to drop, ha! By the way, I tested it with my Brooks adapter and my whatever that Mayfeather, whatever adapter I have as well. Doesn't work. Now that's at the time of this recording this video. Very, very new controller. Brooks more than likely will put an update out for it to work or whatever, but at the time of recording, doesn't work. So you got wireless, nothing, regardless for the Xbox. Let me know in the comments if y'all are frustrated as I mean, you can tell I'm pretty freaking frustrated about it because we've been waiting for this controller. I have been bugging GameSir, my contacts over there, to send me this controller, thinking it's gonna be a wireless controller for the Xbox because it was gonna be awesome, but it's not. Okay, I'm done with my soap popper. You get the point, moving on. Okay, so I just went in the trenches for a little bit. And yeah, so evidently all that spew I just did about it being wireless and needing to be wireless, they are making a wireless version. Evidently it's just going to be coming out after the wired version. From everything I'm looking at, there's no release date on that yet, so just keep that in mind. I am thankful. I'll probably cut a lot of what I was saying out, just because, yeah. So now the question is, do you buy the wired version or you wait for the wireless version? So I guess we'll listen. Make sure you watch the rest of this video to figure out if this version is worth the buy or if the wireless. I mean, these two versions are gonna be the same exact. It really is going to depend on price, in my personal opinion. So coming in the box, you are gonna get couple different D-pads. Now the D-pad that came on this, it was like a circle D-pad, and like it was flat and circle. Garbage. That's where it deserves to belong, in my opinion. I did not like it at all. I thought it was a waste of money to put it on there. I thought it didn't look good or anything, so I immediately pulled out their semi-dome D-pad they have here and threw it on there as well, and good to go. The faceplate does come off, of course, so you can change these D-pads out pretty quick and on the go. You do have a traditional cross D-pad in there as well if you want it, which you don't have in the box, even though, you know, whatever, I guess. I mean, personally, I gotta say something. You don't get nothing to carry the little D-pads around in. They're just gonna be floating around unless you have a little desk or something beside you to throw them in there, or you throw the other 2 away, the one you're gonna use, and then, I don't know, you know, don't lose them, because you don't get nothing to put them in unless you're gonna keep the box. Moving on. Now, the controller, front controller has this on it. Now, this was a little bit new. I haven't seen this before. I'll hold it up to the camera so you get a good look at it. It literally it's just a cable holder. So like if you have an official GameSir controller cable, you can throw in there to hold it in place. And that's just kind of give it stability so it ain't hanging there on the end, which I do like. Now, if you don't, the controller, you lose the cable, it gets broke or whatever. I do like the additive feature where you can just slide that off and use any USB-C into the controller itself. That was actually a nice touch. I enjoyed that. Good job, GameSir there. Moving on. Also on the box, since this isn't an Xbox official, you do get like 1 month of Game Pass Ultimate, whatever it is. You see me, it's gonna like pop up on screen, and I'm definitely gonna make it harder for you guys to get it. So you're gonna have to like rewind it, slow-mo it, and stop it if you want the code. Hey, it is what it is. It's a free code. Cuss me out in the comments if you want to. So connectivity wise on it, even though we kind of already talked about it, it does work on the PC, of course, with the dongle. It does also work on Android or anything like that because you do have the Bluetooth functionality of it. And of course, if you want to use it on the Xbox, you know, the platform it was made for, just use it wired. I know that I'm like talking a lot about that. I know that every freaking third-party controller for the most part that comes out is a wired controller, but I think I speak for a lot of people that assumed this was going to be a wireless controller. I don't think there was any inclination. There was no, like, nobody told us it was going to be wired. We all thought it was going to be wireless. I'm pretty sure even the people that worked for GameSir thought it was going to be wireless. So I don't know what the flip happened in marketing there at the very end to make this wire. I know it was going to be a more expensive controller, but I promise you, GameSir, people would have bought it. People would have bought the more expensive controller. If you don't believe me, go to Amazon, look up the new Razer Ultimate controller that's wireless for the Xbox. And I think 500 or something like that was bought in the last month. They will buy the controller, and that's a $200 controller. You could probably have made this controller for $150 and sold the crap out of it. Just saying, wireless is the way we need to go. Moving on. Let's start with the front of the controller itself. Now, the front of the controller does have a faceplate that does lift off. I would assume that you could probably buy different ones. There's a different color ones of variation coming out. There's another color. I can't remember what the color is. I put it on screen so you can see it. It looked good and everything. They sent me the white one. I will tell you right off rip, this controller looks and feels not like the Xbox Elite controller. It does feel like it to a certain extent, like weight-wise, the Xbox Elite controller is still a little bit heavier. The grips on the Xbox Elite controller are better because one is the back of these are rubber, just like the Xbox Elite, but when you come around here to the front, it's got that plastic feel with it. So I don't know. I think they did that because of how this plate lifts up right here. And if they were to make it that rubber, it'd probably peel easier. That's the only thing I could think of. So it does feel okay in my hands. I kind of wish it was rubber all the way around, personally speaking, if I would say so, but I'm not mad at it. It feels pretty good in the hands holding it gaming wise. Other buttons on the front of the controller, you do have the M button, and this is going to be for like setting back buttons up and doing different things, messing with vibration, turning up the game volume and the sound volume with the headphone port you can use for the Xbox, of course. So you know, since this is an Xbox official controller, you are able to use the headphone port there. Excuse me, that mute, tap the mute button down there if you want to. Okay, now speaking of other buttons on the front of the controller, we've already talked about this, a couple of them. Now you do have your share button up here. This is Xbox official controller, so there is a share button. You do have your other two buttons up here that are just, they have a click to them. So if you like clicking them, they just click. They clicky click. All of them kind of click. In any case, you do have a D-pad rocker right here. It's like on a rocker. It's like pretty easy. I almost kind of wish there was just a little bit more tension on them, personally speaking, but it is there. They do work, and you can hear it very, very clicky itself, as well as the X-Way B-A button. I will say, pressing in these buttons, there was a lot of travel time, it felt like, before they actually actuated when I was testing it out and stuff, and you can kind of see that. The other thing I do want to mention now that I'm looking at this controller is, man, we need to get some shots of this. The front of the side of it, I'm just now like really like noticing this, and I haven't dropped it or anything. Can you see it there? No, you can't. Let's go overhead. We're gonna do that right now. All right, over here and just got this whole thing set up. All right, so there is definitely like a little gap right here, as you can see. And it just kind of looks like it runs all the way around them. Like I can get my finger in there. Oh, wow. Oh my goodness. So we're gonna leave that in there. Why not? Did not know that, but these evidently come off too. Well, so that's actually really cool. So if you want to play with the controller as a translation controller, that makes sense on why these are plastic too, by the way. You can. Oh my goodness gracious. I was like, man, this controller, the build, I didn't try to pull these apart when I started to play it. I pulled out the box, unboxed it, and started playing with it. But now you got an idea. You can really see everything that is right here and everything like that. Let's start it up and see if there's any other cool things inside of it. Hook it up to the PC, of course. I'm powering it back on. I don't know if there'd be any colors to it or anything like that. There you go, it's on. No, there's no colors or anything in there, which I didn't think there would be. But I think that's pretty cool, if I'm being honest. Like, you can see the entire internal of everything. And you can see, I mean, just the motors. So that's pretty cool. You can see all that. So these have come off, which means, in my opinion, they're going to be selling different styles of these where you could probably make this exactly how you want it. So let's move on to the joysticks themselves. So the joysticks themselves are the TMR6 on them and stuff. These, by the way, don't come off. I try to pull them off and they don't come off, and I was really scared I was gonna break it. You can see like there's just not enough room to get them out. I mean, they're glued on there or something. I'm not sure. and I don't want to break it trying to get it out, so they don't come off. I will tell you, if you want control freaks, they're just this typical PlayStation 5 control freaks that are going to be in there and give you a shot of that TMR module underneath right there. If I can, you can kind of see some lighting going on in there and stuff. That could just be the light reflecting off the red too. But yes, PlayStation 5 does fit this, so take that for what it's worth as well. The sticks themselves, playing with the sticks themselves and everything, I will say they definitely very sensitive. I turned these suckers down to the lowest setting for, you know, just in the app itself, and I had to go in my Xbox and turn down my sensitivity really bad. I was at a 1.2 in sensitivity in Call of Duty, and I brought it down to 1.0. I believe I've shown you on screen if I even record. I can't remember if I recorded that part or not, but they were almost too sensitive, if I'm being honest. Like for me anyways, like to have to turn them down that much, that was crazy. I didn't play very great with the controller, to be 100% honest with you. The controller it was so sensitive to me and everything that that didn't very well perform well on it looked good on paper, but didn't perform well in live action. So take that for what it's worth. I will say that the controller, after I did get used to it, I started getting better and better and better. And that was on Xbox. I haven't done a whole lot of gaming on PC yet. I'm going to try that there just to see if there's any kind of a difference there when it comes to that. You know, who knows? We're talking about the front of the controller and the top of the controller, whatever you want to call it. The bumpers, they're very soft sounding and soft feeling. There's not a whole lot of noise there at all. They do actuate all the way around. I mean, I'm able to actuate it right there even. So all the way around, they actuate very well. You do have that stipple right there. They don't have it underneath, the little RB you can see right there underneath. And as well as the triggers themselves, they do have that stippling top right there. Get close up on it so you can see it. And they look all right. No stippling right there, of course, but you can see through them, which is pretty cool. If you like that kind of style. They do have the trigger stops. They're starting to do this more and more. They definitely listen to us there, which you can have the analog sticks right here if you want them that way, which are good for racing and stuff. But then you have your FPS shooter games. Got these mouse clicky triggers right there, which are super awesome and definitely way better when it comes to FPS shooter games. In my personal opinion anyways, let me know in the comments below what you'd rather play with FPS shooter games. Moving down, you do have the back buttons right here. Now these are pressed pretty good. They're set up good ergonomically speaking. They just sit right there and they're pretty good in the hands themselves, playing and everything else. They do have these lock mechanisms down here, and I honestly still to this day don't know why they put them on here. I get it, people don't like pressing buttons, I guess, but I just feel like they could take this money and legitimately put it to better use. Like instead of putting them here, let's take that extra money and put it somewhere else. I just, you know, put 2 buttons right here, put some rockers here and put 4 buttons on the back instead of 2 up here, which we're going to talk about right now. Speaking of the back, the 2 top buttons or whatever you want to call them, you do have 2 top buttons right here, and they are kind of weird in my opinion. They stick out, they're bulky. They feel good pressing, but the problem I have is to reach my hand around to get it, I have to torque my wrist out, and when I do that, my hands are coming off the back buttons. It's not making for a I have pretty big hands, and like for me to grab the controller, and so let me pick up the controller, this is comfortably in my hand. I got the back buttons right here, I can press and stuff. I'm here, and then, you know, sure, I can hit the buttons right here and stuff, but I didn't like them a whole lot there, to be 100% honest with you. I don't know, like I felt like they tried to pull something off from Razer, which is right here. I don't have the new Pro controller yet. I need to get it, to be 100% honest with you. Hashtag Razer, send me your controller. But the Razers felt better. Maybe I don't use them a whole lot up top, but Razers, for some reason, it just felt better to me in the hand playing with it. This controller is also bigger though, so in the same aspect, I don't know. I'm just able, you see how much further my fingers come across right here with this controller? So my fingers ergonomically just sit on the controller right here on these buttons so much better than it does with this controller right here. Like I have to like force my fingers up here to actually get them, because like right here, so almost maybe if they would have brought the buttons down ergonomically, it would have been a little bit better. But you kind of go into an awkward mode trying to kind of reach up here and stuff. I mean, sure, it'll work. Maybe I'm nitpicking here. I just wish personally we could have just added 2 more buttons here or something like that. Figure out how to do 4 buttons back here instead of trying to add 2 up here They did it the same thing. Let me go ahead and pull that controller out too for kicks and giggles. Okay, I was mistaken. For some reason, I thought they did the same thing with their other controller that I just did a video on not too long ago. Crap, I don't forget what it's called. Whatever, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, I'll pin it at the end of this video. You can go watch it. But they didn't. So this is their first attempt at putting these buttons up top right here. I could have swore they added 4 buttons to a controller. Let me go look. Hold on. Okay. I went and got this controller because I was freaking out because I can't remember what it's called, first of all. Cyclone 2. Okay. For some reason, I thought they added 2 buttons up here for the Cyclone 2, but they evidently didn't. So this is their first attempt of the 2 buttons at top. I'll give them a pass. They did it at least, and that does make me happy. An Xbox controller with 4 buttons on it. The controller does have a 1000 hertz pulling rate out of the box. Now, from my understanding, this is not going to transfer over to the Xbox. From my understanding, Xbox is capped at 250 regardless of what you do with the controller or anything like that. This is something I learned a little bit later on. Didn't know this. So even if you do set it at 1000 on PC and then move it over to the Xbox, you're still going to be at 250. From my understanding, unless there's something new out there that I have missed, and that's fine. Just comment below an article or something like that. Tell me where to go find it and I'll go look at it. And then when I probably make the update video with the wireless controller, I'll mention it in there. But also, just to throw in there, if you do set this controller to 1000 hertz, I don't know, I didn't test it because there's just no point of testing it because it doesn't work as from my understanding anyways. The other controllers you set to 1000 hertz, then move over to the move to 1000 hertz. The other controllers you set to 1000 hertz and then move them over to the Xbox, you would lose your headphone port. I would assume maybe more than likely that's the same here. If it is, just simply set it to 500 if you're able to. We need to go look at the app too. And then you shouldn't have an issue there. All right, so different day, different me, different person. Evidently I recorded some other footage and it didn't record. But it recorded, but the audio didn't record. Go freaking figure. So I'm recording all this. Great. All right, so the next thing I wanted to do is talk to you. I started talking to you about is this right here. This is the app. This is the Nexus app, as you can tell up here at top. You can full screen and everything like that. You can put this on the Xbox. You can get this on the Xbox. You do have 4 profiles you can set up here, and you can hit M, the middle button right here at the bottom, plus Y, B, A, or X to switch between profiles. So once you get the profile set up to what you want it to, you don't need the controller again unless there's an update, which mine is up to date. Real quick, I'm just going to show you real quick right here. You have some right here. You can have your force triggers on for vibrations and stuff if you want those on. On the other side, this is for your gyroscope. This will be for anything that can play. I would assume like PC and probably some Steam games as well. Down here, you can set your controller up to what you want it to be. 1000 hertz is what we're going to set it to. Down here are your triggers and your sticks and all that too. You can set your dead zones up, this, that, and the other. Oh, okay, auto on. When you pick the controller up, it turns on automatically. You want to have that on there? Cool. Your buttons are right here. You can set the buttons up to whatever you want them to. As you can see here, advanced settings. We can come over here to numeric and also keyboard. So you can set this controller up for keyboard binding. Now, if you're playing on Xbox, I don't assume it will do anything on Xbox if you set it up for an M or something like that. You know what I mean? So just keep that in mind, but you can set them up to mouse, keyboard, and all that here. You are not going to be able to set them up. I've been seeing this a lot. Some people have been talking about this where you can set the buttons up to do an actual stick movement. Like, I've never seen that before. Is there a controller out there like that? If there is, cool. I don't have it. Bring my desk down a little bit here. But in any case, yeah, there's that. Also, just real quick while we're here and stuff, you can go up here and then, okay, so if you want to, you can come over here to switch layers. You can go to anything and you come up here and click what stick you want. Also with motion, you can set it up. Everything's the same as the main screen. It's just here in tabs instead. So that's pretty much the app in a nutshell itself. So at the end of the day, the controller itself isn't a bad controller. It's $80, I believe it's going to be what it's going to be. You know, it's an $80 wire controller. So you're not taking it for a grain of salt. If you want a controller that's for the Xbox officially, that is wired, that has 4 buttons on it, TMR sticks, you know, tactile buttons, this, that, and the other, then I don't see nothing wrong with it. I guess price to performance wise, it's gonna probably stick around some of the other. I mean, there's no other controller out there that has TMR sticks on it with 4 buttons other than like the Fusion Pro. But even then, that doesn't have TMR. Those are like the, I think they're even still a potentiometer. I don't even think they have Hall effects on their Fusion Pro 4. I could be wrong there. I don't remember. But in any case, $80, I think it's fair assessment for the controller itself. My only issue is how much is the wireless version of this controller going to cost? Is it worth having the wireless version of this controller? Like at the end of the day, if this wireless version is only going to cost me $60 more or whatever, $70 more, I guess it would be if it's 150. I don't know what the controller, I'm just guessing it might be about 150. I would rather have the wireless version. Now that's me. Let me know in the comments below if you would want to pay the premium difference in wireless, or would you be cool we're using this on the Xbox with a wired and just save the money itself. At the end of the day, I think there's some negatives about this controller. I think there's some positives about this controller, but the $80 price tag I can get behind on this controller itself. Let me know what controller you want to see next, and if you do want to see a full breakdown of the controller, how to use this controller from the inside out, I will make that video as well. I'll see you guys in the next video, and as always, peace and love.